Fellow Nigerians, I would like to commemorate the anniversary of the 63 regaining independence of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nigeria must be celebrated by patriotic Nigerians. I know there are so many bad things that are happening in the country, ranging from the hardship and the miserable situations that we are currently in. That notwithstanding, we must eulogize the regaining of our independence from the erstwhile colonial masters. We suffered so many things in Nigeria, but today we are commemorating those individuals who sacrificed their lives for the future of Nigerians. I am talking about people like Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, who has done great things for the country. I am talking about Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, who have done great things for the country. I am talking about Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who have done so many things about the country. I'm talking about people like Chief Okapara, who have done great things for the country. I'm talking about Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto, who have done a great job. Ladies and gentlemen, we must celebrate this country. We must celebrate her. We got independence in 1960, 1st October 1960 rather. But before 1960, what happened? Let me revisit history. We have survived so many things in Nigeria, ranging from colonialism to neo-colonialism. The first independence motion was proposed in 1953 by Chief Anthony Enahoro to the House of Representatives in London. Although Chief Anthony Enahoro, after he proposed that motion for the independence of Nigeria, his northern colleagues re-amended the motion, and that's one of the causes of the Kano riot in 1954, because Sardauna and his colleagues did not accept Nigeria to be granted independence at that time. He said we should wait until some years to come. We overcome that. After that, there was in 1953 again, there is what happens during the Constitutional Conference in London. And let me tell you the story. One morning, Chief Obafemi Awolowo saw Sardauna and he greeted him. Sardauna refused to answer. He greeted him again. Sardauna refused to answer. Chief Awolowo said, "Prince," they used to call him Prince at that time, "what is the matter?" Sardauna did not answer, and then Chief Awolowo turned and he went around to look for the boy. Luckily, the boy was on delegation to London. He saw him. He held him by the arm and grabbed him before the Sardauna and said, "Kneel down and greet the Sardauna. Next time if you see the Sardauna and you don't greet him, I will dismiss you from my party. I am not training a party of irresponsible people." These are the leaders we have in the post-colonial independence of Nigeria. They love themselves despite the differences, despite the religious differences, despite the tribal differences, despite the differences of regionalism. They still love Nigeria. They still put Nigeria's interest above their own personal interest. So we are celebrating them. We are not celebrating governmental achievement during independence, but rather we are celebrating those individuals who have sacrificed themselves for the betterment of this country and for the future of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, we overcome so many things in Nigeria. I remember in 1959 we overcome the independence election crisis. I remember in 1964 there was election that held. We overcome the crisis at that time. I remember the 1966 coup d'etat that happens in Nigeria. We overcome that. I remember so many things that happens to Nigeria, but Nigeria were able to overcome. I hope and I pray we are going to overcome the crisis that we were confronted with today in Nigeria. The crisis of economic hardship, the crisis of insecurity, the crisis of bad leadership, the crisis of regionalism, the crisis of tribalism, the crisis of religious differences and political differences. We are going to overcome, and Nigeria will certainly be great again. Happy regaining independence of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I'm using the word regaining very deliberately because we were free before the coming of the white men. When they came, they invade us and they to demonstrate what we are going to do. They start to demonstrate what we are going to do politically, they started to demonstrate and define what we are going to do economically, they started to define what we are going to do culturally as well. Remember, we were colonized by British. Our constitutions was made at the Westminster. Sorry, our constitution were called Westminster Model Constitution if we are colonized by British. Remember, we are in Nigeria, but our constitutions were defined and were made by British. Not in Nigeria, not in Lagos, not in Abuja, not in Kano or Kaduna, but at Westminster. They call it Westminster Model Constitution. European bureaucrats sitting at the Whitehall and telling us, giving us constitution and said, go in Nigeria and practice this. Nigeria became a laboratory for the ideas of the British bureaucrats. So we must celebrate this. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot label you with long speech, but we must celebrate the regaining of independence of our fatherland, and I look forward to the day when Nigeria will be united. We will no longer fight. We will have a prosperous Nigeria, a united Nigeria, a Nigeria where peace and stability will reign. Thank you very much. I remain Aliu Suleiman.